and to my daughters, they run their own organization called Prime Modeling. So even prior to this, we were doing fashion shows and things like that. But it was actually my oldest daughter, Joy Harrison. It was her idea when I told her I was trying to get involved with the library committee and fundraise for it, help fundraise. She told me, why not do a children's fashion show? And from there, I went back to Jakim and we talked to May Jarman, and it took off.
Yes, it did.
It took off.
It was great. It was at the Christiana Hilton. And I think that Sunday I was on TV and I left here and ran down to be a part. It was great. And of course, Jakeem, he was our DJ.
Yes.
And the children, where did those children and parents come from?
Those children, a lot of the children were children that come into the barbershop every day. Some of the kids were kids I see when I'm off work, just walking through the neighborhoods. And that was another thing that surprised me because they were so eager to get involved in something, than other than what they normally do. And their parents, these people work, but every practice, they were bringing their kids to the rehearsals, just to be a part of something. And something like this, like I said, a lot of them didn't know about it. But when they heard about it, one of the main things I would hear from them was, oh, I want to be involved. I want to be involved. I want to be involved. And this is going to be, we need this around here. We need this. And we didn't know that they were trying to do things like this in the neighborhood. So, they were all eager to just join in. And the kids was just incredible.
They were fantastic.
Yeah, they were incredible.
Let me, before everybody else jumps in, which they can, in the summer, maybe a couple summers or so ago, when we had Community Day at Garfield, did you not come and cut hair for free to the children that could not afford to get haircuts?
Yes.
You pay back, you give back to the community. I was there a few years or so ago. You said, can I put a chair up here? I was part of that community day, and you came up and free of charge just to give your time to give back to the community. Talk about that.
That was something that we've done that a couple of years in the salon itself. Like even this year, the school year, we opened the salon up on Sunday, and we had free haircuts all day for parents that couldn't afford to get their children's haircut. So that's just like a part of what we believe in, and it's not just me; it's my barbers, my stylists. I've been fortunate enough to be around people that that's the kind of people they are. So we've been doing it for, like I said, a couple of years as the salon. But when I, got involved with the Linden Library and I think I got invited. I think Jakeem invited me.
Yes.
He invited me up there to do that. So that was a no-brainer, Right. So yeah, we came up and we set up and anybody that wanted a haircut, couldn't afford it, hey, we did it. We did for them.
I would like to piggyback off of what Linwood said and what Ed said, and our purpose with the Garfield Park Lending Library. This being Martin Luther King weekend, that giving back should be a 365-day a year thing. That we just don't do it here, even though we're doing stuff at our Garfield Park Lending Library for Black History Month. We don't believe that there is a Black History Month because it's American history.
Right.
Everything that we do has been part of this country. We have contributed in so many ways, and so many people don't know that. And that is what Martin Luther King, the whole Martin Luther King celebration is all about treating people on our committee staff. We have white, black, Hispanic, young, old. I think we have one of the most diverse committee that we have people in it that's 25 years old, some people at 65 years old, 35, 45. We want to have everybody involved, very inclusive, and that is like Linwood said, that is what Martin Luther King Jr. was all about.
Absolutely. I'm reminded of one of Martin King's sayings. He says, "We will have to repent in this generation, not merely for the hateful words and actions of bad people, but for the appalling silence of good people."
Yes, sir.
It behooves us to speak out, not just in February about our history. African American history is American history. It's all history, and we need to speak out on it like we do on the Lapa Hour. Every show is speak on history all the time. Every day we should remind our kids of where they came from and where they're going. And that's why it's important to have libraries open, authors here to speak out on their books and let our young folks know that they can do these things as well. And so, I did have a couple of questions for Ed about his book. How many did you write? What your book's about? I got a few questions, and most importantly, when you going to do those free haircuts again? Because the Lord knows we could use one of those.
Well, the free haircuts, we do them annually. We do them annually at the beginning of the school year.
Good.
Now, I've written one book that's actually published that's called 3 Wishes. I'm working on another work that's called Water. That's not done yet. That's probably about maybe 6 months off. But to speak about 3 Wishes, it's as far as the story goes, it's a simple story. It's about a relationship between 3, kids that grew up together since kindergarten, somewhere around in that. And during the course of their lives, they developed this bond that they considered themselves to be, best of friends, unbreakable. But during that time they grow, they run into tests, things that happen in their lives that test that bond. And it actually shows their character, things that they take for granted. And why I say this because when I look at us as a whole, as a society, how we get along together dictates how successful we are. And it's the small things that take place that we tend to ignore that have some of the larger impacts.
Absolutely, and it seems to me like not only do you write about it in your books, you're demonstrating it out in our society by inviting and involving young folks into like activities like this modeling fashion show type of deal. Which brings me to my next question: is how old are the kids that participated in this fashion show? How old were they?
We had them as young as, I'm not sure, but I don't want to give the wrong number, but I'm pretty sure we had them as young as 4. And then we've had them all the way up to like 15. We wanted to cut it off at 13, but we had, the kids that just wanted to be involved.
A tremendous response.
Yeah,
Yes.
Great.
So it just got to a point where if you could walk and you could do it, you could be in the show.
Absolutely. Our kids are looking for positive things to do out in the community and great programs like this program. When do you plan on doing it again?
We haven't set a date for another fashion show yet, but I know my daughter and her organization, Prime Modeling, they just did a bus trip for the kids yesterday, where they went to the aquarium free. They didn't cost them, anything like that. They just rented a bus and took about 30, 40 kids to the aquarium.
Wow.
And a lot of those were the same kids that were in the fashion show. Because when the fashion show was over, the kids were coming up to her. When are you going to do something else? What's next? What are we going to do next? So when you start something like that, you get people motor running, and you get them wanting that. So you gotta keep it up. It's not just a one-time thing,
And piggyback for Garfield Park, my brothers and sister, one of the things that is we want everybody to know that we're not doing just a one-shot deal. That we are doing, as the Friends of Garfield Park Committee, we are gathering this stuff, our resources, and giving back. If it's something that we're doing every month, this Superhero Saturday that we're having on February 15th is a perfect example of that. That's of nothing but love. And we want the kids and the parents that come there to really emphasize that you always must be learning.
Right.
If you're not learning, you're going backwards. So we want to get that in there. And Ed's the modeling, the barbershop, which is a great barbershop, which you should go to. Great barbershop, yes. He definitely is part of that. He's just definitely part of that.
Right. Tell us about the artist that was there and did a painting just before the fashion show, and it was a beautiful print, and it was right now it's at the lending library.
Yes, it is. It is
but
at
it
the
will
lending library.
come back to our library once we get our library established. Talk a little bit about that.
That guy was incredible. Now, I don't know his name. My daughter knows his name. Joy Harrison, she knows his name. It was actually another one of her acquaintances. This guy he came in and he did it for nothing. You know, no, I'll come in and do it. I'll join the cause. I'll donate my services. I'll do it live. So he actually stood up, and he painted while the show was going on. And when he finished the show, he donated the painting to the library. And I'm looking forward to, when we do walk into that library, seeing that painting on the wall.
There you go. It was beautiful.
Because the concept he was so dead on with the concept. What was it, a kid sitting on top of some books?
On some books. A kid is reading a book, but sitting on a stack of books.
Yes.
And it was almost like 3D, almost letterbox, and it's going to stand out in the new library.
We didn't tell him what to do at all. We just told him what we were doing.
Right.
And he just took and came up with that.
You know, that's great. Again, that's fascinating. Exposing our kids to the world, the beautiful world of art. I am reminded of, we have so many jewels, like the brother you just spoke about, who's in our community doing artwork. I'm reminded of Miss Eunice LaFate, folk artist out there, extraordinaire, world-renowned. Here in our community, there's a lot of them out there. And, you know, art is like a valuable resource. It's like gold or, you know, silver. It's like you invest in this artwork, and you give about $50, $100 here for a piece of artwork. 5 years down the road, is worth like thousands. And for our kids to be exposed to this is just a beautiful thing. And using the library of all places is just right there. And I know for a fact that artists will loan their paintings out to venues like the library or the athletic leagues, and it behooves us to engage in some of these artists out there and have them place their pieces in the building so that our young folks can see these miraculous pieces of work right here in our community. Wilmington is full of great things, and I'm just glad to be here, part of the panel, you guys speaking out on that. Again, I would hope that you put your kids and send them out there, even take your kids. I know you guys encourage the adults to come to this library as well. Yes. I certainly will be there, and I'm wondering, Mr. Muhammad, do you guys have a website? Around it?
Sure. Actually, if you wanted to get in contact with the Friends of Garfield Park Lending Library, the committee, you would get in contact with us by P.O. Box 131, Newcastle, Delaware, 1920. Now, that's our membership drive, and that's how we get people to get in contact with us. But you will see me or Josie or Ed in the library, or our president, Madam Chair, May Jarman, in the library at any time. And anytime you walk into the library, especially at Garfield Park Lending Library, you will see some of these envelopes that we have for our membership. And these envelopes that we have for our membership, again, we have all that information on there because we are a 501c. We are a legitimate 501c, and we want as many people to get involved as possible. We talk about the kids in Linwood and Ed and the rest of the panel. We talk about the kids, and really, they're our future. But we also want to talk about those people. We've had people who were applying for jobs at ShopRite or applying for jobs come into our computer lab and really use that computer lab. Our numbers went up. We're using, but we want more people. We want you more. Come down. Right. We also wanted to mention, I would be remiss if I did not mention, that Kristen Blake, one of the librarians at our Garfield Park Lending Library, has free dance classes. Our dance classes were for children from the age 4 to 15. And this dance class started on January 4th, 2014, and is now every Saturday at the Garfield Park Lending Library. So every Saturday between the hours of 10 and 1, you could bring your children there. We don't want you to leave, but you won't be in the room with the children because she's a very strict dancer, but we don't want you to leave because we're not doing a babysitting thing. But we want you to come there. Bring your child there. If you want them to learn some creative dancing, she has 1 hour, I think an hour and a half for creative dancing, another hour and a half for hip hop dancing. I believe you have to have a combination of creativity and intellectual. You need to be both. In this day and age, in order to compete with the rest of the world, for our children to compete, they have to have both. It's very important. Like we always say, you always must be learning.
Right.
Hey, you guys got everything going on down
Yes,
there.
we do.
We're
The
trying.
visual arts and the performing arts. Man,
It was just a
gotta get even
couple of things I wanted to elaborate on with the book. As far as one was your question about what it's about. I don't want to leave the impression that the book is just about friendship. That's an important component, but the book is more than this. It's just about more than friendship. It's about how we treat each other, you know, as humans. And I guarantee that I've had readers from all demographics, Caucasian lady, 40, 50 years old, all the way to a teenager.
Right, and what's the name of it again?
3 Wishes.
And where can we purchase it?
You can purchase the book at my salon, Prime Styles and Cuts, Unisex Salon. That's the best way to get it. But you can also go on to createspace.com, click on Go to Store, and then search 3 Wishes by Edward Harrison. You can get it that way too.
Say that one more time, Ed.
You can go to createspace.com, click on Go to Store, and search 3 Wishes by Edward Harrison. And that's how you can it'll bring that book up too, and you can purchase it from there too. But like I said, the best way to purchase it is give me a call at 302-293-7461. That's my cell phone number. It's always on me, and I'll get the book to you, mail it to you, bring it to you. Because the other important thing that I wanted to make was about the book. The point I wanted to make was that we're donating half the proceeds from the book. We're donating it to the library. We're donating half of it. As a matter of fact, Jack Kim, I got some money for you guys now.
Yes, we definitely need the money.
That's
Definitely
another
need the
thing,
money.
even with the fashion show.
Right.
They donated half of the funds to the lending library. Now, if that's not giving back, I don't know what is.
But we donated all the funds for that
and-
fashion
Right,
show.
yes. That's
Okay.
right.
Well, that's just awesome. But this is what he's all about. This is what we're all about.
That is
so
correct.
it's just wonderful, and we're so grateful to you, Ed, and to you too, Linwood, and
That's right.
everybody. We're just grateful, and to the community. So we just want everybody to be a part. But my co-host here, we don't have too much time, but I do want him to say something.
See, I always wind up coming on at the right time because it's apropos for the statement that I'm getting ready to bring to you, the viewing audience. There's a couple of things I've jotted down before I came on the show today. And one of the things I really want to say to everyone on this panel, and that's this, and I wrote this myself, so you'd understand just where my mindset is when I think about things that we can do as positive people when you get them together. And it goes as this. It says, when a group of like-minded thinking individuals are placed in a concentrated area to perform a creative work of art for society, that's leadership at its best.
Thank you.
And by saying that, I want to go on to also indicate some of the things, because I'd be remiss if I didn't speak on behalf of Dr. Martin Luther King. Linwood did speak on it, and I like to think this way, and I say it in these prose, I say, I like to thank the following individual pioneers for the civil rights movement. And the first, of course, would be Dr. Martin Luther King for his inspiration to all of us. That's across the board for everything that everybody had to go through. White, black, Hispanic, whatever you want to say. Everybody had a struggle to get something through. You didn't do it by yourself. The shirt indicates that as well. He's over here in this corner. Let me get it right. No, he's over there. There he is. You can't see him that well. But over there. These guys can see that. But also, and I wore that for this reason. Also, Mr. Swerner, Mr. Tate, and Mr. Goodman. Some of you may not know, but I know my senior viewing audience out there know who they are. And what they were they were one of the first groups to come from Chicago to go down to Mississippi to be able to get the Voting Rights Act in the state of Mississippi so the individual would be able to vote. Well, unfortunately, they met an untimely death. They were actually murdered, and eventually, 10 years later, they found out exactly who did it. Third, I want to say to Dr. Franklin McCain, and if you guys don't know who Dr. Franklin McCain is, you will when I get finished. Dr. Franklin McCain was one of the 5 African Americans who took part in the Woolworth sit-in in North Carolina, in which they were denied the right to be able to be served at that. And my fourth person, I want to give a big thanks out to Judge Bailey. And for those who do not know Judge Bailey, what he did that made him so famous is that Judge Bailey was the first individual down in Memphis, Tennessee, to fight to keep the Lorraine Motel available to become one of the first civil rights museums in the state of Tennessee. I don't have to tell you what he went through. If you know what was going through, he started out in 1969. It didn't come to fruition until July the 4th, 1991. Now you can do the math there. It's close to almost 22 years that he was fighting this fight just to be able to make sure that that would be a historic monument within the African American community. If you want some additional information on him, you can read this book that he published, and it's called The Education of the Black Activist by Judge Bailey. That's The Education of the Black Activist by Judge Bailey. And all you have to do is type in Judge Bailey, and then it'll show you exactly where you can purchase the book. But I just want to say that in saying that, look, like I said, thank you all of you guys. It's been a great time. I'm going to turn it back over to the host because, as you don't know, what we know is that there's always somebody there to give you those numbers. Okay, Josie.
Oh, thank you so much. We could not go off air without Len saying something. We have 5 minutes left. I'm going to let everybody say something. I just want to say personally, thank you so much, everybody, for coming down, being part of the Lapa Hour today. Next month, we have a special guest that's going to be coming on, Nord Phillip from the Rockwood Museum. So we want you to make sure that you tune in next month, the third Sunday, for the information that he's going to bring forth concerning Newcastle County and the Rockwood Museum. So I'm going to go to Jakim. Jakim, you got 1 minute quickly. Talk about your business real quick.
Well, I actually have two businesses. It's called Mlkjr.Holiday Entertainment and Fitness. You probably see me do the fitness thing here on Josie's show before. I have the entertainment. I actually have a fantastic band. I DJ as well, but I have a fantastic band. Real quick, it's called the Mlkjr Experience. You're going to see us at a couple of different places. I think we're in Basel at the Sheridan on February 5th, but where I do definitely for bands, for weddings, stuff like that. We do a lot of different things for corporate events. Okay. So Mlkjr Entertainment and Fitness, and you know us, this is almost health fair season, so you'll see us out there with the battle ropes and the kettlebells like Brother Len was on the last time we was doing it. So that's what we're about.
Okay, and your number, if
if you ever want to get in contact with us, Mlkjr Entertainment and Fitness is 302-220-7064.
Thank you so much. Linwood.
Yeah, thanks, Josie. You guys can find me on WFAI1510am.com on the Linwood Jackson radio show. I'm on every Sunday from 2 to 3. And I just want to take this time out and thank everybody, all my friends who wished me a happy birthday yesterday via text.
Happy birthday.
E-card, Gmail, thank you. Twitter, and especially Facebook. I didn't get the time. I couldn't respond to all of you. But I had a blessed day, and I just want to thank you guys. Much love. Yeah, if you can fly, remember, if you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving. Martin Luther King.
That's right.
Ed.
I'll keep it simple. I'm just going to give a message to my family and my friends and all out there. If you want to fill your heart with something, it's nothing much better than you can fill it with love for your community.
All right, Len.
Hey, I got like 30 seconds, then I'm going to turn it back to Josie here. All I'm going to say is, look, I appreciate all you gentlemen coming on. Of course, the host knows that. And then also for all of you individuals that are viewing us, keep this in mind. It's not the people at the studio that have these problems. We haven't taken it over. We will take it over on April the 1st. So just bear with what you see, and trust me, things will get better. Josie?
All right, again, thank you so much for tuning into the Lapa Hour. Ms. Ruth Baker, we thank you so much. Our president of Lapa, thank you for all you do. Again, please be a part of the Garfield Lending Library. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for the community. Thank you, Mrs. Mlkjr., who is the president of the Friends of Garfield Park Lending Library. Thank you so much. You work so hard. Just continue to pray for us, to support us, and just become a part yourself of the Garfield Park Lending Library. We're going to have a library real soon on Route 9, but we need your support and we need your help. Again, thank you for joining into the Lapa Hour. We'll see you again on the third Sunday in February. And so be good, pray for someone, and just have a blessed day.